Did you know that some countries said no to American visitors? Yes, if you have a US passport, you may not be allowed to enter some places anymore. Let's find out which countries banned Americans and why it happened. In this video, we will talk about 10 countries that stopped letting Americans in. This happened mostly because of things Donald Trump did when he was the president. Let's see what happened and why these countries made such big decisions. While Donald Trump was president, he made strong choices about how the US talked and worked with other countries. He made travel bans, canceled deals, and said tough things about other leaders. Some countries did not like this, so they made new rules that stopped Americans from visiting. Some countries banned US visitors completely. Others made it really hard to get in. Let's now talk about these 10 countries one by one.
Let's take a closer look at each country and see why Americans can't go there anymore. North Korea is a very closed country, often described as the most secretive and isolated nation. The government controls all aspects of life, from media to movement. Foreigners are rarely allowed in, and their movements are heavily monitored. The regime's tight grip on information means that the outside world knows very little about the daily lives of North Koreans. The capital city, Pyongyang, is often showcased as a model city, but even there, the reality is far from the polished image presented to the world. The countryside remains largely underdeveloped, and many citizens face severe restrictions on their freedoms. In 2017, American Otto Warmbier was arrested for attempting to steal a propaganda poster. He was sent home in a coma and later died, raising questions about detainee treatment. His case drew international attention and highlighted the harsh realities faced by those who fall afoul of North Korean laws. The incident led to widespread condemnation and increased scrutiny of North Korea's human rights record. It also served as a stark warning to other potential visitors about the risks involved in traveling to the country. The U.S. then banned travel to North Korea to protect citizens from arbitrary arrest. Relations worsened as Trump and Kim Jong-un exchanged threats. The travel ban was a significant move, reflecting the heightened tensions between the two nations. It aimed to prevent further incidents like Warmbier's and to send a strong message to the North Korean regime. The ban remains in place, and the diplomatic relationship between the U.S. and North Korea continues to be fraught with challenges and uncertainties. Now, Americans need special permission to visit, which is rarely granted. The border remains heavily fortified and rarely crossed. The demilitarized zone, DMZ, between North and South Korea is one of the most heavily guarded borders in the world. Despite occasional diplomatic overtures, the situation remains tense, and the possibility of conflict is ever present. For most people, North Korea remains an enigma, a country shrouded in mystery and controlled by an authoritarian regime that shows no signs of loosening its grip. Iran and the U.S. used to have a deal about nuclear power. This agreement was known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA. It was designed to limit Iran's ability to develop nuclear weapons in exchange for lifting economic sanctions. The JCPOA was a significant diplomatic achievement, involving not just the U.S. and Iran, but also other world powers like the UK, France, Germany, Russia, and China. The deal aimed to ensure that Iran's nuclear program would be exclusively peaceful, with strict monitoring and verification by the International Atomic Energy Agency, IEA. But Trump ended that deal in 2018. He believed the agreement was flawed and did not adequately prevent Iran from pursuing nuclear weapons. Trump argued that the deal did not address Iran's ballistic missile program or its influence in the Middle East, which he saw as destabilizing. His administration reimposed severe economic sanctions on Iran, aiming to pressure the country into negotiating a new deal with more stringent terms. He also called Iran's army a terrorist group. This designation increased tensions between the two countries and led to further sanctions. The move was unprecedented, as it was the first time the U.S. had labeled another nation's military as a terrorist organization. This action further isolated Iran on the international stage and escalated the already high tensions in the region. Iran got very upset and stopped allowing Americans to visit. The travel ban was a direct response to the U.S. actions and further strained diplomatic relations. Protests erupted in Iran, with many citizens expressing their anger towards the U.S. policies. The travel ban not only affected tourism, but also impacted families and individuals with dual citizenship, creating a complex and emotionally charged situation. Today, it's very dangerous for Americans to go there. The U.S. State Department has issued travel advisories warning citizens about the risks of traveling to Iran. These advisories highlight the potential for arbitrary detention, harassment, and the lack of consular support in case of emergencies. The volatile political climate and the strained U.S.-Iran relations make it a high-risk destination for American travelers. You could be arrested. The Iranian government has detained several Americans on charges of espionage and other crimes. These detentions are often politically motivated, and detainees may face harsh conditions and lengthy prison sentences. The lack of diplomatic relations between the U.S. and Iran complicates efforts to secure the release of detained Americans. Even if you're just visiting, it's important to be aware of the political climate and the potential dangers before planning any travel to Iran. Travelers should stay informed about the latest developments and heed the advice of travel advisories to ensure their safety. Understanding the complexities of U.S.-Iran relations can help individuals make more informed decisions about their travel plans. Trump said the leader of Venezuela was not the real president. He claimed the elections were rigged, causing a stir in international politics. This statement was met with mixed reactions globally, with some countries supporting Trump's stance while others condemned it. The controversy surrounding the legitimacy of the Venezuelan government intensified, leading to widespread debates and discussions on international platforms. He imposed sanctions on Venezuela's oil industry to pressure the government. These sanctions led to shortages of basic necessities. The impact was felt deeply by the Venezuelan population, as the country heavily relies on its oil exports. The sanctions exacerbated the already dire economic situation, leading to increased poverty and hardship for many Venezuelans. Venezuela stopped all direct flights from the U.S., complicating travel and straining relations. This move was seen as a direct response to the sanctions and political pressure from the U.S. It made it difficult for families to reunite and for businesses to operate smoothly between the two countries. They made it hard for Americans to get a visa, limiting American presence. The stringent visa policies were part of a broader strategy to reduce U.S. influence in Venezuela. This affected not only tourists, but also professionals and aid workers who found it increasingly difficult to enter the country. Some Americans were arrested on charges of espionage or inciting unrest. These arrests were often seen as politically motivated, aimed at sending a message to the U.S. government. The detained individuals faced harsh conditions and lengthy legal battles. It's not a good place to visit now if you're from the U.S. The situation remains tense. Travel advisories have been issued, warning Americans of the potential dangers. The political and economic instability continues to pose significant risks for visitors. Syria is having a long war. Trump sent missiles to Syria and supported people fighting the Syrian government. This made the leaders of Syria very angry. They don't want Americans in their country. It's also not safe. There's no U.S. help there, and many dangerous groups are active.
Fifth country is Libya. Libya was on Trump's travel ban list in 2017. Libya has a lot of fighting inside its borders. Because of Trump's ban and the country's own problems, Americans are no longer welcome. There is no working U.S. embassy in Libya, and visitors are often in danger.
The situation in Libya is very complex. The ongoing conflicts make it extremely unsafe for any foreign visitors, especially Americans. The lack of a U.S. embassy further complicates any potential travel plans.
Sixth country is Yemen. Yemen is in a war too. Trump banned people from Yemen from coming to the U.S., which made Yemen angry. The U.S. also helped other countries bomb parts of Yemen. Now Americans are not welcome there. If you try to go, you could be kidnapped or hurt.
The humanitarian crisis in Yemen is severe. The travel ban and the ongoing conflict have strained relations with the U.S. significantly. For Americans, traveling to Yemen is extremely dangerous and not advisable.
Seventh country is Cuba. President Obama made it easy for Americans to visit Cuba. Many people enjoyed traveling there, but Trump changed that. He made new rules that stopped cruise ships and made it harder to fly there. You can still visit, but only for special reasons. Regular vacations are not allowed anymore.
The changes in travel policies have made it much more complicated for Americans who wish to experience Cuba. While it's still possible to visit, the restrictions mean that casual tourism is off the table. You need a specific reason to go, which has definitely impacted the flow of visitors.
Eighth country is Somalia. Somalia is a dangerous place with fighting and bad groups like Al-Shabaab. Trump banned people from Somalia from coming to the US. Now Somalia also doesn't want Americans visiting. If you go there, it's hard to stay safe. You could be targeted just for being from the US.
Somalia remains a high-risk destination. Travel advisories are strict, and it's crucial to understand the dangers before considering a visit.
Ninth country is Sudan. Trump added Sudan to his travel ban list in 2017. Even though it was removed later, Sudan still doesn't trust Americans. Getting a visa is hard, and sometimes they just say no. Some people there are still upset with the US because of the past.
Sudan's relationship with the US has been complicated. Historical events have left a mark, and the path to reconciliation is slow and challenging.
10th country is Afghanistan. In 2021, the US left Afghanistan and the Taliban took over. Now, the US has no embassy there. The Taliban don't want Americans visiting. If you go there, it's very dangerous. You could be taken or hurt, and no one would be able to help.
One of the biggest examples is Iran. Before, the United States and Iran were trying to get along. But after Trump canceled their deal and called their army a terrorist group, everything changed. Now, Americans are not just banned, they could be in serious danger. This shows how fast things can get worse when countries stop talking to each other nicely. Travel is not just about airplanes and passports, it's also about how countries feel about each other. When leaders argue, regular people, like travelers, get hurt too. So now, Americans can't visit some places because of what happened during Trump's time as president. It's sad, but it's true. Do you think it's fair to stop regular people from visiting just because of what leaders do? Let us know what you think in the comments. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and check out more videos about travel and the world.